The NTA, I'm Ruth Aguela. Let's start by telling you that the 25th meeting of Nigeria's highest policy decision-making body, Federal Executive Council for the year 2020. State House correspondent Adam Musambo reports that President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the meeting, being held virtually for the 16th time in the new normal. The high-level engagement was anchored from the Executive Council chambers of the Presidential Villa. Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Gambari, and the National Security Advisor, Babagana Monguno, and 8 ministers joined the President in the meeting. Other members of the Council, including the Head of Service of the Federation, participated online from their offices across the nation's capital, Abuja. Several memoranda from ministries, departments and agencies are expected to be considered for possible approval in furtherance of the next level agenda of the Buhari administration. Now, this is targeted at shifting the nation's trajectory on the path to a prosperous future. In another development, President Muhammadu Buhari says if the United Nations cannot mobilize the world to marshal out a truly effective and inclusive response to the coronavirus pandemic, well, it would have failed in its core mission of giving direction and solution to the yearnings of the international community. In his virtual address to the General Debate of the 75th session of the United Nations General Assembly, the President maintains that the global community not only look up to the United Nations, but count on the organization while reflecting on the future at once. Once again, let's get the details from State House correspondent Adam Musambo.
This year's General Assembly has as its theme, "The Future We Want, the United Nations We Need," reaffirming our collective commitment to multilateralism, confronting coronavirus through effective multilateral action.
The pandemic has taught us that our choices matter. As we look to the future, let us make sure we choose wisely.
Addressing the General Assembly for the 6th time since coming to power, President Muhammadu Buhari said the theme captures the common desire of the world leaders for a renewed and revitalized organization in need of multilateral approaches to the many challenges facing the world.
The future we want must guarantee human rights, human dignity, human prospects and prosperity. The principles of leaving no one behind and doing no harm must be expressed through accountability, strategic growth initiatives, and elimination of threats of all kinds. The global aspiration to recover from the impact of coronavirus pandemic will not be fully met without addressing existing structures that make it more difficult for countries to generate and retain their financial resources.
And in the nation's quest towards providing the future of hope and prosperity for all, the President said his administration has embarked on measures to ensure enhanced national resilience to be achieved through the Economic Sustainability Plan and the medium-term National Development Plans.
We expect that these ambitious initiatives will deliver sustainable economic growth and development to Nigeria.
To mitigate the impact of poverty on Nigerians, the President said 10.9 billion naira is currently being disbursed as palliatives to households as well as micro, small and medium enterprises, while the Central Bank of Nigeria has launched a 3.5 trillion naira stimulus package to boost manufacturing and facilitate import substitution.
We encourage global leaders, particularly leaders from the global North, to support the Alliance for Poverty Eradication at this time when the coronavirus pandemic is reversing gains made in the achievement of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals and pushing an additional 500 million people into extreme poverty.
President Buhari described the world is facing today and therefore called for concerted efforts towards ensuring collective security, including stemming the illicit trade, transfer and circulation of small arms and light weapons to codify accountability in the battle against transborder crimes.
Nigeria remains deeply concerned over the illicit trade, transfer, and circulation of small arms and light weapons, particularly on the continent of Africa. Nigeria remains steadfast in our commitment to the revitalization of Lake Chad. Let me therefore reiterate the call for international support for the sub-regional efforts to raise the 50 billion United States dollars required to actualize this initiative.
The Nigerian leader, who also touched on migration, illicit financial flows, human rights, women empowerment, and gender parity, as well as quality education, on which he announced that Nigeria will host the 4th International Conference on Safe School next year.
I invite you all to Nigeria to participate in the conference, which aims to advocate for the protection of education from attack as we work together toward the future we want.
President Buhari reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment towards strengthening partnerships and cooperation with international and regional organizations in the task of promoting international peace, security, and sustainable development. In Abuja, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
On the education scene, stakeholders from 7 northwestern states of the country were in Kano to brainstorm on effective implementation of schools resumption template developed by the Federal Ministry of Education. Now, this is to ensure effective control strategies against transmission of COVID-19 in community schools. Let's hear more from Abdullahi Mustafa.
For 7 months, schools have been closed down as part of curtailment measures against the spread of COVID-19. With the pandemic curve flattening gradually, stakeholders from the 7 states of Northwest Geopolitical Zone are brainstorming on a template designed by the Federal Ministry of Education for the reopening of schools across the country. Those participating include Commissioners of Education and Health, as well as Chairmen of State Universal Basic Education Boards.
Government have approved to spend a huge amount of money to procure PPEs.
Efforts were made to reopen school for the exit classes, and Alhamdulillah, Kaduna State did very well in observing most of the COVID-19 protocols for safe reopening of schools.
Minister of State for Education stressed that compliance with COVID-19 protocols by all states is necessary before schools are allowed to reopen. The stakeholders' dialogue will allow delegates to look at differences and similarities in the template and what the states have prepared. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Let's turn our attention to other pressing issues. For persons with disabilities, life is already tough, but the situation around them is worsened when family members and society pay deaf ears to their plight. On the occasion of the International Week for the Deaf, the British government and the National Commission for People with Disabilities are exploring ways of enhancing communication channels for these categories of citizens in Nigeria. Kelvin Ehunwahi reports.
Suleiman Uja has hearing impairment. He can't also speak, but he believes life will be a lot easier for the deaf community if the society can find a better way to listen to them.
Our deaf children growing up don't have access to sign language. The parents that give birth to them cannot sign. So bringing them to school, the school has limits.
Bridging that communication gap between hearing impaired persons and other members of the society is what the British government and the stakeholders are now working on, starting with the harmonization of the variations of sign languages to create a standard version to be studied in Nigerian schools.
It's a fantastic goal to have, with small steps along the way, but also supporting. The most important thing is for the parents themselves to learn, because the child needs to be supported at home.
We are working to establish the offices of the Commission in the 6 political zones and each of the states in the Federation. But once we are able to have this by next year, then our activities is no more an Abuja business. It is going to be a community-based approach.
In Abuja, Kelvin Ebonwaye, NTA News.
Well, in line with that, September 23rd every year is commemorated as the International Day of Sign Languages, a day set aside to raise awareness on the significance of sign language to aid communication with people who have hearing or speaking impairment. Now, the day was declared by the UN General Assembly in 2018, heralding the International Week of the Deaf. Now, this year's theme is Sign Languages Are for Everyone. They are not different from normal persons. The only difference is how they communicate. To bridge communication gap for over 72 million people around the world who have hearing impairment and carry them along is the essence of the International Day of Sign Languages, to enshrine their rights and promote sign language all over the world. Martha Aga wasn't born with a challenge. She got ill at the age of 7 and discovered that she couldn't hear again. For Martha, the touch of trying to understand what people say around her or what she's trying to communicate was very frustrating.
So when everybody is sitting on the dining table, eating and talking and laughing, cracking jokes, I miss out, I feel left out. The sign language really came in and uplift, make my life better.
Bamidele Olayinka has been a sign language interpreter for more than 20 years, a skill he learned by chance during evangelism, because he needed to communicate with people with special needs, and over time it has become a part of him.
It's not a passion for me. I'm even struggling really hard not to sign right now. So, but indeed, sign language is a very, very interesting language that all of us, all humans, need to learn, because it develops the cognitive capacity of the human brain. I want to beg all, including the government, to please make sign language a national language for all people.
For easy communication for Fatima Doki and her son, she had to get enrolled to learn sign language.
If you have a deaf child, there should be where you go to, maybe a center in the hospital, or a center where you as a parent of the deaf can go to. You learn this sign language early enough so that you'll be able to communicate fluently with your child. The awareness is not there.
You are not deaf, but a deaf person meets you. If a deaf person meets you, how do you communicate? We are using this opportunity to create awareness so that people will change their attitude from saying that it is not me, after all, I'm not deaf.
To build an all-inclusive society for all, more people are encouraged to learn sign language to create a world where everyone counts. Right now, joining me in the studio to expand the discourse, to speak more on International Day for Sign Languages, is Dr. Angelina Oguche, a sign language expert that has for a long time been an advocate for the promotion of the skill. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, can I say Happy International Day of Sign Language?
I'm highly delighted to be here, and this is a day that the deaf community is really happy, marking their birthday.
Okay, if you put it that way, but how important is sign language, in communicating with persons who have hearing impairment?
It's really important because, like I told somebody outside there before I entered here, the deaf are more intelligent than I and you. They have concentration. They have high assimilation. In terms of expression of emotions, they communicate better. They don't have attractions and distractions. And so they deliver better than I and you. And for that reason, it is high time for every community to respect their importance and see what we can all do to improve them.
What we can all do. Let's look at the situation for Nigeria. Now, the outcry is the gap in, raising awareness, having more centers, where people can learn sign language to bridge that communication gap. How have we fared in Nigeria?
well, in Nigeria, I think there's still a lot to be done. And that's why I belong to this interest group that is striving day and night to make sure that there is the University for the Deaf in Nigeria for Africa. And that is the reason why Wesley University, where I'm a council member, had signed an MOU with Gallaudet University, Washington, D.C., to ensure that there's a second university in the world called the University for the Deaf in Nigeria for Africa. Because, as you know and I know, there are a lot of deaf people, though very little percentage, that have been trained in Nigeria, but they can't go further than A-level, and some of them tertiary in inclusive environment. And what I mean by inclusive environment is the fact that they were trained not in specified areas, but among the hearing people, among the hearing students, and so they were not giving their best. Reason why Wesley University is striving day and night to have the kind of specified university as it is in Washington, D.C. in Nigeria. And to make you happy, they have signed an MOU to make that possible.
But what about affordability? Because if the school of such nature will be in Nigeria, talking about a university, is it every parent that can afford that?
Yeah. When you talk about affordability, you strike a point. But I tell you something, if Washington, D.C. can do this, I think Nigeria can do that to some extent. All they do there is subsidize as much as possible the fees for these specialized students. And Nigeria can do that. If we have money to do many more things that are not as important as this aspect of education, where we have about 35 million non-hearing and deaf people in Nigeria, as at 2016.
So let's take it to the kindergarten level.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of children out there who were born, with hearing impairment, they don't have that inclusiveness. Talking about, you mentioned earlier that they have been taught in schools where all the children who can hear. Now, what would you suggest in situations like that? It's because a lot of parents are going through that challenge. They can't even communicate with their children.
Capacity building and going into specialization. The last time we went for a meeting at Washington, D.C., and to the glory of God, the government of Nigeria were represented. In fact, was represented with about 2-3 people. We went to kindergarten classes, specified kindergarten classes for the deaf, and we saw what they were doing. They were wonderful artists, performing wonders, producing arts and science. And these things are made possible because the government of their country is able to provide for them. And they have a lot of sign instructors making this teaching possible from the grassroots. If we can do other things in Nigeria, I think education being our number one can give priority to the deaf.
Thank you very much, Dr. Angelina Oguche. You couldn't have said it any better. Thank you. All right, let's move now to Lagos as we join Hingino. She has more reports for us on Nationwide. Hingino.
Thank you, Ruth. The foremost agenda of governments, individuals, and health workers in the last few months has been centered on combating the COVID-19 pandemic that has continued to threaten human existence. The search for a vaccine, among other efforts to curb the spread, necessitated the introduction of several measures. Lynn Leneke examines the implications of the approaches on the socio-economic concern of supply chain sustainability.
The new normal occasioned by coronavirus has changed the face of social interactions and business operations as well as transactions. With the prioritization of safety, electronic platforms have become the marketplace for sellers and their buyers.
It is a good development because we know that the economy has been locked down since March. And most of the operational facilities across the various sectors of the Nigerian economy are already down. So there is need for what will reawaken the entire economic space.
Government should look out for a greater economic activities. And the COVID idea is, to me, that we widening the scope of economic participation by all the stakeholders in the country.
The new normal also means the evolution of innovations in communication, with operators in the financial sectors like banks and insurance upscaling expenditure for ICT infrastructure to handle overwhelming electronic transactions.
It is the resilient entrepreneurial attitude of the owners of micro, small, and medium enterprises, actually. It is not a written policy, per se of the government.
Observers agree that overdependence on technology by the global business community will outlive the pandemic era, as the conveniences it affords has lowered running costs, thereby increasing profit margins. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
An effective synergy among the three arms of government has been identified as an effective tool for growth and sustainable development in Lagos State and the country at large. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu stated this during an on-the-spot inspection of Ikeja and Igboshere High Courts in the state. Nosa Usla reports.
The governor, who reiterated his administration's commitment to providing a conducive working environment and adequate welfare for the judiciary to perform its duties, said he would continue to accord due recognition to the judiciary as part of efforts to enhance its operational effectiveness.
It's really for all of us to continue our collaboration, understanding fully well that we're all set up to serve our citizens, and the only way we can serve is to ensure that all of us have the right ambience and we have the right environment for that service to continue to happen.
Governor Sanwo-Olu added that the judicial arm of government remains the only and lasting beacon of hope, fairness and justice to all citizens, while the legal profession has a vital role to play in promoting the cause of justice, protecting human rights and upholding professional standards. The governor further assured residents that government had embarked on a renovation of some courts and judicial offices across the state to provide a conducive environment for judicial officers. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
We now take a break. The news continues after that in Maiduguri with Mohammed Ibrahim.
A new edition of TV Guide is out, featuring great personalities from all walks of life. Expository interview with a young TV presenter who shows passion on what she does, Morayo Afolabi Brown of TVC. Pick a copy of this compendium of mind-blowing stories and get abreast with issues as regards media convergence, leadership, health, star profiles, star programs, fashion, sports, human angle stories, and lots more. Meet some media professionals within our space who have paid their dues in no small ways. TV Guide, very incisive, very educative and compelling. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
NTA News 24, a 24-hour news station, brings to you news and happenings 7 days a week.
News at 10 a.m, news update at 11 and 1 p.m.
News desk at 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. and late evening news at 11 p.m.
Follow us on any of our platforms and keep abreast of events and current affairs within and outside our shores.
We are on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46,
StarTimes channel 101, and Free TV channel 703.
Join us.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide a company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application for iOS or Android. Intelsat 901/332.5 degrees east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Welcome back, esteemed viewers, to Nationwide from Maiduguri. Borno State Government has constituted a committee on verification of local government pensioners and payment of gratuity as part of efforts to sanitize the pension system at the grassroots. Governor Babagana Umara inaugurated the committee led by Ibrahim Lawan at the Government House, Maiduguri. Mohamed Goni reports.
As part of its determination to instill culture of accountability and transparency in all aspects of government financial obligations, the Borno State government has initiated far-reaching measures, including setting up of 2 high-powered committee for verification and biometric data capture of local government staff and primary school teachers to resuscitate the local government system. The Committee on Verification of Local Government Pensioners and Payment of Gratuity was to address the observed lapses as well as procedural and administrative challenges in payment of local government pensioners and to propose implementable solutions to forestall pitfalls and sundry issues associated with the system. The primary objective of the committee is to determine actual number of genuine local government pensioners and the precise correlation between the total number of pensioners and the cumulative amount of money paid to them and their gratuity entitlements. Governor Bagana Umara charged the committee to follow due process in discharging its duties and treat all pensioners on first-come, first-served basis, stressing that the accumulated pension and gratuity arrears should be cleared while the verification exercise goes on.
The outcome of your assignment will enable the government to sanitize the payment method as part of its overall determination to completely resuscitate the local government system.
Chairman of the committee, Ibrahim Lawalan, said, the inauguration of the local government committee is a life-saving venture, pledging to work within the mandates given to them to realize the set objectives. The committee has the following terms of reference, including identifying challenges associated with the local government pension system and how it should be addressed, as well as to examine current method of payment and its vulnerability, among others. In Maiduguri, Mohamed Goni, NTA News.
Strategic response as well as increasing the level of preparedness among frontline agencies have been described as the most effective measures towards preventing the menace of flood being experienced in most parts of Nigeria. This came to light during an advocacy visit to Borno State Ministry of Environment by a representative of the Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, as well as National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, considering the devastating effects of flood across the country. Abubakar Mohamed Musa now reports.
Flood is no doubt a recurring phenomenon in Nigeria that has continued to affect a significant number of communities with far-reaching effects such as loss of lives and property worth billions of naira. According to the Deputy Director, Disaster Management of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Dr. Abubakar Suleiman, this year's annual flood outlook has clearly shown that 5 local governments of Marte, Maiduguri, Abadam, Mafa and Kukawa in Borno State are likely to experience flood. Hence, the advocacy visit in order to put in place preparedness as well as mitigative measures.
We will save lives and then we will save property if we take appropriate actions before they occur. And that's the reason why we've come to the state government. And that's what we're hoping that we'll all do together jointly.
Permanent Secretary, Borno State Ministry for Environment, Yaya Ankoli, who represented the Commissioner, told the federal government delegation that the advocacy visit is a milestone in changing the narrative of issues concerning flood, as there is a vibrant flood control committee already on ground, inaugurated by the state government.
The state government is up to the task and we have put a lot of things on ground.
Director, Engineering Services of the State Ministry of Environment, Engineer Chris Wakawa, gave recommendations on how best to approach the terrain and expressed optimism that the recurring issue of flood will be addressed sequentially, considering the collective efforts between the state and federal governments. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Mohammed Musa, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Maiduguri. I now hand you to Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Mohammed. Welcome back to Abuja. The Independent National Electoral Commission has mopped up and configured 5,150 smart card readers to replace the ones raised by fire at the Commission's headquarters in Akure. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu made this known on arrival in Akure for a 3-day working visit to the state. Doris Olumoko is standing by with the details.
Thank you very much, Studio. With the successful conduct of the Edo State governorship election, attention is now shifted to Ondo State as Nigerians look forward to a successful conduct of the Ondo State governorship election come October 10. And the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is leaving no stone unturned to meet with the expectations of Nigerians. That is why the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, is in Ondo State with some other national commissioners of the commission to fine-tune arrangements for that election.
We have recovered by getting the requisite number of card readers from the neighboring Oyo State. They have already been delivered to Ondo State. They are right now being purged and configured and charged ready for the election on October 10th. Equally importantly, we used the Z-Pad to upload results on election day, real time. And we have moved those Z-Pads from Edo to Ondo for the election. So at the polling unit on election day, you will see both the smart card readers and the Z-Pads. So we are prepared for the election.
While in Ondo State, the INEC chairman is expected to meet with different stakeholders, one of which is an interagency consultative committee on election security. We expect that at the end of his 3-day visit in Ondo State, conclusions would have been reached on how to ensure a hitch-free Ondo State governorship election come October 10.
All right, thank you very much, Doris. Now let's bring your attention to Kogi State. It has been tears and sadness for many residents of Lokoja following fatal petrol tanker accident early Wednesday morning, with several persons dead and many lying critically injured in hospitals in various parts of the state. Ajibola Christopher, who visited the scene of the accident, brings us this report.
It can better be described as a Black Wednesday in Kogi State, as a petrol tanker with fuel ignited after an accident in the early morning traffic gridlock at Filele area along Lokoja-Abuja Express Road. At least 25 persons were burnt beyond recognition in the carnage said to be the worst tragedy that have ever happened in Kogi State in recent times. The ill-fated tanker spilled its content on the road, the median, and it caught fire, burning trapped passengers in the vehicle, tricycles, as well as nearby houses and shops. Security agencies, the Red Cross, the State Emergency Management Agency, and other good-spirited individuals have conveyed injured persons to nearby hospitals. In Lokoja, Ajibola Christopher, NTA News.
In the meantime, Kogi State Governor Yahya Bello has expressed shock over the unfortunate accident which claimed lives and property, expressing his deepest condolences to the families of the affected persons. Governor Yahya Bello described the incident as the greatest tragedy the state has witnessed in recent times. The governor also urged students of Kogi State Polytechnic to remain calm and peaceful, stating that he equally shares in their grieving moment over the death of their colleagues in the disaster. All right, Ibadan is our next step as we join Larry. He's going to be giving us the next set of reports. Larry.
Good to see you, Ruth, and welcome to Ibadan. Over 2,000 widows across 33 local government areas of Oyo State and 6 non-governmental organizations have received palliatives from wife of Oyo State Governor Olufunke Makinde. Omokende Igba's report is here presented.
Statistics revealed an estimated 258 million widows across Africa, with nearly 1 in 10 of them in extreme poverty, apart from 2.7 billion women who were denied access to the same choice of jobs as men due to legal restrictions. This motivated the wife of Oyo State Governor to put smiles on the faces of widows and less privileged women in the state by giving them foodstuff and cash gifts.
The thing they do daily to generate income is not really going on. So we felt there should be something that we can do.
Receiving the palliatives, representatives from each local government commended Mrs. Makinde and the government for the kind gesture.
This is a society that God has created so that the rich can always support the poor.
Majority of them, they are very young, you can see them. Majority of them, they have no one to take care of them. Majority of them are out of business, they are out of work.
The governor's wife also took time to sensitize the women on the need to pay more attention to their personal hygiene.
Moving on to education sector now, the Kwara State government says plans are ongoing for schools across the state to resume fully. The State Commissioner for Tertiary Education, Science and Technology, Saudat Mudibo Kawu, made this known at a stakeholders meeting and training held in Ilorin. Aisha Abubakar.
The stakeholders meeting on the reopening of schools and training, organized by the Ministry of Tertiary Education, Science and Technology, is to, among other things, deliberate on how soon schools can be reopened in Kwara State. The Commissioner for Tertiary Education, Science and Technology, Saudat Mudibo Kawu, explained that the state government cannot put the lives of students and staff of schools at risk. Hence, there is need for government to ensure precautionary measures are put in place to curb the spread of COVID-19 in the state.
We would have to visit all the state-owned institutions and a few of the private institutions and advanced learning centers, just to ascertain the level of preparedness in those places to ensure that the welfare of our students.
Kwara State government is also committed to maintaining the already existing tuition fees, as no increment whatsoever would be made. The stakeholders meeting also featured a demonstration of how COVID-19 can be avoided, while relevant stakeholders also had opportunity to interact with the students present. The meeting is expected to last for 4 days, after which resumption date for schools will be announced as soon as all measures are put in place. Aisha Abubakar Yahaya, NTA News.
More reports after the break with Chineye in our Enugu Network Center.
Yes, that's the painful effect of what corruption costs you. But what does corruption cost us all? Watch Bad Guys on NTA Network, 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. every Wednesday from the Akin Fadeyi Foundation. Bad Guys. Who are the bad guys? Join us.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
NTA TV College Jos, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, is currently admitting students for its ordinary diploma programs in television journalism, television production, and television engineering. Interested candidates are advised to obtain relevant information concerning eligibility at our website at www.ntatvc.edu.ng or marketing department of any NTA station nationwide. For further information, contact Assistant Director, Marketing, NTA TV College Jos on 0803-314-4383 or the Academic Office of the College on 0806-980-9807. Announcer, Registrar.
Thank you for staying on and welcome to Enugu. The Imo State government has pledged its commitment to the provision of the needed support to the judiciary towards achieving an improved legal system in the state. The state deputy governor, Professor Placid Njoku, made this known at an event marking the opening of the 2020-2021 legal year. Kingsley Ononiwu has details.
Marking the official commencement of the 2020-2021 legal year in Imo State afforded the judiciary opportunity to take stock of their performance in the outgoing year. The Imo State Deputy Governor commends the State Judiciary for their performance in the outgoing year, while also enjoining them to ensure speedy dispensation of justice in the new legal year.
Where there are cases in court, every effort should be made to ensure that justice is procured as quickly as possible.
The State Acting Chief Judge says a lot is being done to strengthen the legal system.
I hereby make an urgent call to the Nigerian Bar Association and members of the bar to rejoin us in restoring public belief in our judicial system.
The Imo State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice speaks on the new Imo State Administration of Criminal Justice Law 2020, recently signed into law by Governor Hope Uzodimma.
He said that the governor will not determine any Imo citizen he wants to detain. It's very, very scandalous. It's very, very unfair. Our lobby, I know, can never exercise such power.
The theme of the 2020-2021 legal year ceremony is refining the administration of justice to surmount contemporary challenges. In Owerri, Kingsley Onaniwu, NTA News.
The rising incidences of building collapse in the country, especially those witnessed in some states in the southeast in recent times, have become a source of worry to the populace. Experts in Enugu who spoke on the issue emphasized the need for builders to employ the services of professionals to bring an end to this menace. Comfort Ayim reports.
On the relics of colonial administration structures, even before independence, that still exist in Nigeria today without witnessing collapse as against what obtained today. Experts in Enugu highlighted the causes of alarming incidences of building failure to either natural or man-made phenomena as a result of use of substandard building materials, poor workmanship, use of quacks instead of professionals, non-enforcement of building codes, or weak foundation, as well as high costs of adequate foundations.
The current and regulatory agencies has made it compulsory and has a mandatory provision that engineers will make visits to site, especially at those critical stages of construction.
Quick identification of a falling building before it finally falls to avert damage, certification of our structural designs, and approval by quality professionals in any design, if adhered to, they maintained, may bring a lasting solutions to the problem.
Then you must make sure that correct and qualified engineers supervise your structures.
It will be recalled that in the last 9 months, various states like Lagos, Imo, Abia, Enugu states, among others, have witnessed a series of building failure, claiming lives and property. A situation the experts maintain has affected not just the victims and family, but society at large. In Enugu, Comfort Ayim, NTA News.
And that is it from Enugu. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Nenya. Reports just reaching us says President Muhammadu Buhari will Thursday depart Abuja for Guinea-Bissau to join other African leaders to attend ceremonies celebrating the National Day of the Republic of Guinea-Bissau to mark the 47th independence anniversary. In a statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, President Buhari will also commission a road named in his honor by the host government. The President will be accompanied by top government officials, including the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyama, the Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Salihi Magashi, retired, the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Mongono, retired, and the Director General, National Intelligence Agency, Ahmed Rafai Abubakar. President Buhari will return to Abuja at the end of the ceremonies on Thursday. Now Nigeria in retrospection, a journey of more than 50 years and still counting, with collective aspirations of attaining nationhood in future to come. NTA Current Affairs program Tuesday Live takes stock of the journey, challenges and gains of Nigeria's independence at 60, with guests from the academics and politics digesting the diamond age of the sovereign nation. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. So is the history of the then young nation colonized by British imperialists and attained self-rule in 1960. From provinces to regions and later to states, guests say, in spite of the challenges of governance, civil unrest and now insurgency experienced, the unity of Nigeria still waxes stronger.
The way forward is to really face the challenges that are arcing to us, that are pertinent to us as a nation. We have the resources, both human and natural. We have the human intelligence to achieve our dreams.
We cannot say that we just can't say that nothing has happened. A lot has happened. Some have tried, but I wish we had the political sagacity which our forebears, Zik, Awolowo, Tafawa Balewa, Madu Bello, the type of spirit of compromise which they had.
At 60, they believed it is time to review the voyage of 6 decades and place national interest and patriotism above personal and sectional interests, with uncompromising posture towards achieving a greater Nigeria.
Nigeria was their own thinking every day. When they are sleeping, their dream is common man. When they are meeting, they are putting heads together to see to the advancement of Nigeria, and that was the spirit.
We have challenges of nationhood, and there is the provisions deliberately put there to see how we can integrate and build a united nation.
For us to still remain as one today is something that worth celebrating.
As Nigeria attains 60 years of independence, many questions will be answered while many will be raised. But the task of nation building rests on the shoulders of both the leaders and the led. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Minister of Mines and Steel Development Olamilekan Adegbite is pleased with the achievements of the ministry under his watch for 1 year. Well, the minister stated this at a photo exhibition tagged Man of Steel, 365 Days of Giant Steps, compiled by his special assistant on documentation, Mia Ogidi, reports.
Still pictures taking a man of steel on a journey to yesterday. Calm, focused, determined to make a difference in Ajaokuta Steel Company, but weighed down by stresses back in the office. All in 1 year, and Larry Fawole documents all these moments of his boss through the lenses of the Canon camera. All these are now in public domain, and one can see the radiance of smile from the back of the minister's head, like the faint memory of light at the edge of an eclipse.
It shows the depth of what we are doing at the ministry. I will visit and reach out to governors so that we can collaborate better. But the whole essence of all this is to tie together the mandates given by Mr. President. Is to diversify the economy, bring awareness to mining, that's diversify the economy, create jobs for our people. That's very important. There are a lot of youths out of job. We're trying to make mining attractive so that they can come into mining. That's what we're doing, to create employment for our youth. And lastly, of course, is to generate revenue for government.
There's a lot of challenges security-wise, because most times when we go to the mining site, there's no security, and these places are like forests where there's no network, so it's just you and God.
1 year of success and memories kept alive. Mia Ogidi, NTA News.
The National Orientation Agency in Abia State has held a road show to show public attention on the need to restore dignity to some of the country's national symbols, including the flag, international passport, and national identity card. Steve Lone Nwankolo reports that the event was flagged off in Umuahia by the State Commissioner for Homeland Security's Prince Dan Okoli.
Effort led by the State Director of National Orientation Agency, Ngozi Okechukwu, in the company of the Abia State Commissioner for Homeland Security, Dan Okoli, took them through major roads in Umuahia, the state capital, as well as a visit to the State Command of the Nigerian Police Force.
event is highly significant because for the first time, a federal organization is partnering with a state organization to increase synergy in promoting the heritage of this country and instilling patriotism, love, respect, and faith into the lives of the citizens.
I am highly impressed. They have come with innovations that will sensitize our people, that will give our people a new orientation about our country, our attitude to our national symbols, and the way we take our country.
Meanwhile, a two-day workshop has also been held by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with a civil society organization which has an acronym as LIFE to sensitize the people on the gender policy implementation to guard against biased practices and prejudices against women in the country and the world at large. The two-day workshop has its theme as advancing the objectives of the National Gender Implementation Policy of 2006. In Umuahia, Steve Lonai, Mwaokolo, NTA News.
Barely 2 weeks after inaugurating the 9th Commission of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission, the process of reformation and revision of some of the laws establishing the Federal Capital Territory to improve accessibility to justice and enhance nation building has commenced. The chairman of the commission, Professor Jummai Audi, says some of the Federal Capital Territory laws have not been reformed since the establishment of the FCT in 1976. Thereby making some of the laws to become obsolete and out of touch with the current realities of the society. The chairman reiterated that the commission will be guided by the provisions of the Act, establishing it to partner with relevant authorities to update laws that will promote the socio-economic and political development in the country. All right, let's talk sports, and Badi Adeleye will guide us on Sports Update.
Prior to the appointment of Gernot Rohr in August 2016, the Super Eagles were experiencing and by August 2017, a great start to the 2018 World Cup qualifiers had seen Nigeria move up to 38th in the world and 6th in Africa.